Welcome to DT Storyteller channel. Now, I'm going to tell you the story about a soldier with his last letter from home. In a small barack, lit only by a flickering lantern, Elior sat by the window. His uniform was worn, his hands trembling slightly as he held a piece of paper, yellowed, creased, but sacred. It was his mother's handwriting. The last letter from home. My dear Elior, if ever the world grows too heavy, remember that your heart still knows the way home. He had read it 1,000 times, maybe more. Each word felt like a heartbeat he was afraid to lose. Outside, thunder rolled like a giant turning in its sleep. He closed his eyes, and for a moment, he was a boy again, sitting by the fireplace while his mother hummed softly by the window. Home wasn't a place of grandeur. It was a cottage by the hills, a crooked fence, the smell of bread, and the sound of laughter echoing down the lane. His mother, Anira, used to write him stories on old scraps of paper. Little notes tucked into his pockets, "Be brave today." When he left for the war, she handed him this letter, the one he now held, sealed with wax, kissed with tears she didn't let him see. "You'll come back," she'd whispered. Even if not in footsteps, then in memory. The words had haunted him through gunfire, through nights too long for prayer. There were days when silence screamed louder than war. When men stared at the horizon, pretending they didn't count the days since they last heard their name said softly. Elior would take out the letter, trace the words with his thumb. The ink was smudged, part rain, part tears. One night, under a red sky, a comrade found him sitting alone. "You keep reading that?" the man asked. Elior smiled faintly. "It's the only thing that still sounds like home." The man nodded. "Then don't ever lose it." But the world had other plans. The attack came before dawn. Fire tore through the camp like a beast unleashed, tents collapsing, men shouting names swallowed by thunder. Elior ran through smoke, clutching his pack, but a blast threw him into the mud. When he awoke, hours later, the letter was gone. He searched until his hands bled. Ashes, water, earth, nothing. For the first time since he'd left home, he felt utterly alone. It was as if the world had taken his voice, and hers. Weeks passed. The war pushed them further inland, through burned villages and fields turned to ghosts. In one ruined chapel, Elior found a wall with words carved into the stone. They were faint, almost erased by time. But he could still read them. "If ever the world grows too heavy, remember your heart still knows the way home." His breath caught. It was her sentence. The same line from the letter. He knelt there, staring at the stone, wondering, had she been here? Had she written it long before? Or was the world simply whispering her words back to him? Either way, something in him stirred, a warmth that refused to die. One evening, Elior came across a woman on the road, her clothes torn, her violin case cracked. She was playing a tune that sounded like rain on window panes. When she saw him listening, she smiled weakly. "It's a song my mother wrote," she said. "I play it so I don't forget her voice." He nodded, tears threatening. "Mine wrote me a letter. I lost it." She looked at him for a long moment, then handed him a folded paper. "Then take this. It's blank, but maybe your heart remembers the words." He kept that paper close, and that night, as he slept under broken stars, he dreamed he could hear his mother humming again. Months later, the war ended, not with victory, but with exhaustion. Men went home with limps, with ghosts, with names carved into metals that no longer shone. Elior walked for days, following rivers and dirt roads, through towns he no longer recognized. He reached the hill at sunset, the one that once watched over his village. But where his home had been, there was only silence and stone. The war had passed through here too. He sank to his knees, the blank paper still in his pocket. He unfolded it, and gasped. The paper now held faint ink, words written as if by invisible hands. My dear Elior, if you've come this far, then you already know, home is not the place we left behind. It is the light that still remembers us. He stood among the ruins, the wind lifting dust like memory. He closed his eyes, and suddenly, he could hear her voice again. You came back, my son. He smiled through tears. I never really left, did I? The clouds parted, and sunlight broke through, warm, golden, alive. He held up the letter, watching it glow. Then, for the first time, he stopped reading it. He simply felt it. Years later, a young boy walking by those same hills found a folded letter caught between wildflowers. He opened it and read the words softly aloud. If ever the world grows too heavy, remember that your heart still knows the way home. He smiled, though he didn't know why. Somewhere, far above the clouds, maybe a mother and son were smiling too, their words carried forever in the quiet breath of the world. The heart never forgets where it was loved. Even when words fade, love remains, written not on paper, but in the places we dare to return to.